hustlers, LoBaggers. It is Wednesday, March 6th at 11:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10:01 a.m. here in Costa Rica. You're watching LoShack and the Bag Show. My name is Jimmy the Bag. My partner, the legend, Lodos LoShack, is not here right now. He's on a break. Now, our man Jorge Don't Play started growing a mustache in honor of Peter LoShack. I said I was in. Now you may know that there's no mustache here. Is that because Lodos LoShack's return is imminent? Or because I forgot at 4 a.m. this morning? That's up for you to decide. That is up for you to decide. Also, just covering very important news before we give a big shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Santa Anita has shut down the horse track. I'm going to meet after the show, decide if we're still going to do a Beat the Bag at a different track. There have been 21 deaths, horse deaths so far this year at Santa Anita, and they're shut down the entire track. And I just, the most important thing is the horses. Everybody in this business loves horses so much. Horses are my favorite animal in the world, and that's why they're shutting down the entire track to figure out what's wrong. And so that's what's going on. We're going to figure out to Beat the Bag, but the horses are first and most important. And if there's something wrong with the track and the horses are breaking down, shut everything down. Who cares about the money? Shut everything down. And that's what they're doing. Okay, now let's move on to positivity because I'm coming off another winning day. We're on a nice little run now. Not a giant winning day, but a winning day. And we always talk about the black is the black. And before I introduce all of the incredible cappers on the chat, let's talk about why I had a winning day because it's very simple. It's teamwork. I say over and over again, how do you beat the minus 110? How do you beat the minus 110? It's working together. Let's go over what happened with me yesterday. Thank you to Fred Gialli, Rem Most, and Parlay Poppy, who pushed me towards the Dallas Rangers under 6. Without it, I would have had a slight losing day in the NHL. Drew Martin's Auburn and Maxwell Smart convincing me to stay with Air Force first half, despite Caroline coming back, allowed me to have a 7-7 night in NCAA. Thomas Corrigan out of Portugal, keeping me off the Bulls. Ski Profit keeping me off the Magic and pushing me towards the under. And Celtics Warriors gave me a 2-1 night in NBA with the Raptors losing and the Celtics winning easily. It's the teamwork. It's the LoBag fam. And I thank you guys so much because it's putting money in my pocket. Feels goddamn good. So now, shout out to all the cappers in the LoBag chat. Vinny Cornell, Matt Randall, Jose Contreras, Cole Coleon. Jose Contreras says, look at Roadster for the Derby. You know I am. I'm very interested, but I have fallen in love with Bourbon War. We'll keep going. Jeff Joseph in the house this morning. All love this community. Joe Ramirez on Oregon -6 today. We got DJ Big Boss in the house. He's liking Florida. Drew Daddy says, shout out Matt Randall. Taint play of the day. He could have just taken Minnesota +5, but no. Enormous testicles on Matt Randall. Some of the biggest testicles in the game. 7-7. He needed the taint play of the day to get back to a winning record. But with those giant balls, he takes Minnesota on the money line. Matt Randall. And Drew Martin was on the other side with Purdue. Giant balls. Let's keep going. Shout out to Viper NB. Flipper 13 in the house. Andy Townsend, there's Matt Randall right there, my man A-Town. And his A-Town play of the day hit. FSU -3.5, now 1-1 officially. We got Steve Cordero, Brian Lee in the house, whom I got to hang out with in LA. Shout out to my guy, Brian Lee. Nut Flush Allen, you got mossed. Says, how about South Carolina? Y'all tried to say Texas A&M was the easy pick. Thanks for fading me. Hey, I got on the under. Thanks to Maxwell Smart. That helped. I've had back-to-back 7-7 days. It's just been, in college basketball, just a roller coaster ride. Shout out to Rico Money. We got Trainer Tone, my guy Trainer Tone. Jansen Bonds in the house. Hail to the victors. Maxwell Smart ready to go. Lil J in the house. Art Hayes. Trenton Claxton. SFU didn't come out for first half, but St. Joe's first half did. You're right. And so I'd go 0-2 because I have FSU first half. Didn't take him full game. I didn't have St. Joe's full game, didn't take him first half, but still, 7-7, we'll take it. Chicago Kid in the house, Ricardo Gutierrez, Christopher Hogan, Steve Koska, Carlos Perosian is cheesy balls. We got Ski Profit. How fire is the silent assassin, Ski Profit? Ski, when was the last time you and I worked together on a losing card? We've been absolutely destroying these cards lately. Art Hayes in the house, AC8432, Rocket Moneyline. That was my only loss. Joe Wynn, Board Scholar. Board Scholar says Matt Randall taint play today is godly. Rico Money says teamwork makes the dream work. Shout out to my man Rico Money. Troy V, Devils team total under 2.5. Maybe a consistent play going forward. I feel that. Jansen says, normally big testicles is a sign of bad things. Not, oh God, I can't laugh. My lungs are not prepared for laughing yet. Uh-oh. OG Wham, head-to-head with Big Boss, liking LSU. Brian B saying, thank you, Ski, for the under on the Celtics game. All right. Joseph Tucker said, cash Ole Miss, FSU over and Canadians, and lost on Jets. Well, I was on Lightning, -1.5. That was a casher. And how about the Ducks? Casher. God, plays like that, going up against just putting a line through every trend, except the Getzlaff trend was part of it. But going against the Coyotes team at home that's won 6 straight, I fucking just want to freak out. Want to lose my shit. When the Ducks win 3-1, I want to lose my shit. All right. Sacktown King liking Kings first quarter today. Pepper on the Champions League play. Porto versus Roma over 2.5 goals. And both teams to score. PSG United. Nick Schweska says Ski and Messiah. Chip Chipperson says thanks for the Celtics pick. Yeah, Celtics was too easy. Joey Nisi said Jimmy, that Ducks winner though. All right. Okay, you guys. And Scott says the guys need to cut Jimmy's sound on earlier. I need to hear the awesome intro being clipped the last few days. Oh, yeah. Thanks for letting me know, Scott. I can't hear what's going on that. Maxwell Smart says, skis a nuclear bomb at the Sportsbook. Well, now, the reason why we wake up... Oh, shout out to Corey Max. Tail that. Ah, God, that feels so good. Damn good. Dom Ricci says, we can't stray away from the teamwork. It's what brought us here. Cash Clip says, drop the house on Blues puck line, Jimmy. Under no circumstances am I going to do that. I know that Shen's coming back, but no. They played Miller last night. Gibson's going to put up... In fact, I know, and I see all the market coming on the Blues. It's a great spot for the Blues. They had been off since Sunday. They're rested against a Ducks team on the second half of a back-to-back. But I'm not going to touch the St. Louis Blues. If I do anything, I may take another flyer on these Anaheim Ducks. But, of course, I'm saying that because I was pumping my fist so goddamn hard last night. All right. Von Polo says, Ducks will lose today. Big Guy Bubba, man, I was thinking about you, man. And you've been cashing so much on fading the Warriors. It's just one blip. Don't even worry about it. Ralph Orwando says 5-2 yesterday. Total's doing well in the NBA. Don Reach says Blues are on my fade list. They're on my fade list too, but we'll see how they react with Braden Shen back in the lineup. St. Louis Elite, birthday pick. Beautiful. Is it your birthday? Or probably just giving it out to the St. Louis Elite says don't sleep on the Blues. They don't look very good right now. St. Louis Elite says Roma to qualify -145. 1-1 correct score. Plus 650. And Nicolo Zaniolo, first goal, plus 1100. Send it. Shout out to St. Louis Elite. All right, Luis Leyva says, shout out to Max. Hit a 3-10 parlay. Also play today. Thank you, Max, and everyone. Best show on YouTube. Shout out to you, Luis. Okay. Joe Anisi says, miss the mustache and Loshak. I miss it very much. But I think that you will not be missing him too much longer. And I'll know for sure, and I'll know 100% for sure in 24 hours. Whether or not I tell you, I don't know. Okay. All right, you guys, let's get to work. My man, Playoff Streets in the house. Love seeing him. Okay, let's get to work. I woke up real early to break down this entire card. And to be honest with you, I'm just so excited to break down this NBA card. I'm so excited. We're going to have Jay Money is Money on the Late Show. We're going to have Drew Martin here in 35 minutes. Jay Money is going to be on the Late Show. And, of course, Maxwell Smart going to be on the Late Show. I'm still in the middle of the negotiaciones for Maxwell Smart. But I can't wait to break down this NBA card. I get to make an appearance on King's Court. My man Sonny D joining me. He's in Costa Rica. Very funny comic, basketball player, basketball capper. We'll both be guesting on the best basketball show in the world, King's Court. Shout out to Ann America in the house. All right, let's get to work. I'm pumped. Slight winning days. I'll take it every single day. Tom Marino says NHL card isn't very good. Big NBA, NCAA card. Jeff Murillo says many tears will be shed for Pete. There'll be no need. It'll be a joyous occasion. But we'll get into that. Okay, let's get to work. Joe Anisi says we get ski today. Well, we got ski in the chat. I mean, skis Tuesdays and Thursdays on Low Shack in the bag. But they ski on... Oh, ski does King's Court on Mondays. Man, okay. And just 187 says Noli knows the king of unders. And Rem Most, thank you. Thank you so much for pushing me. And you were the hardest one pushing me towards that under 6 in Dallas, New York Rangers. Thank you very, very, very much. Very much. Says I've been holding down for it nicely in Pete's absence. Well, I won't have to much longer because he'll be sitting beside me. And we have a play of the day coming up. Cassius Thomas says, when you have a nice winning day, how's your follow-up day? It's not good. I'm too pensive and scared. Okay. Getting too excited. Sorry, I'm getting a little too excited. But to answer that question, Cassius, when I have a slight winning day, I'm great. When I have a huge winning day, I'm just so pensive and scared and little bitch and safe. Okay, let's get to work. Oh, and Anna new podcast is out for UFC. Everybody will be talking UFC this week live. You know we will, Anna You know we will. Trey Franklin in the house. Okay, let's get to work. Yeah, Big Roo says, slow down. Okay. Just feels good. Christopher Clementine saying, rocking the old school Grizzlies jersey. You know I am. You know I am. Jay Cross says you need Lysol this place. They do. They Lysol every time I leave any room. Okay. Matt Randall says, Big Country Reeves jersey. Never. Never. I despise that guy. I don't blame him for everything. We've talked about who I blame those. Okay. Let's, Joe Wynn says, damn, quick Henny to clear that. No, I can't start drinking. Okay, we got to get to work. Sorry. Okay, let's start with this NHL card. Let's break it down quickly, and then I want to spend a lot of time breaking down this NBA card. I've made no bets so far today. Okay. Capitals at Flyers. Got this Capitals team look good on the road all year, 20-10-1. Against this Flyers team that's stepping up. We got Holtby versus Elliott. Again, I'm going to go over the goalies. Tell me if I'm wrong, because, these sites don't always work. Look at Rico Money, 9-0 down tonight. Love it. Okay. Andy Townsend says, Sharif Abdur-Rahim jersey. Now, listen, to be honest with you, A-Town, and all you guys wondering who's on this jersey, I was hesitant to wear it because there is a situation going on with this player, and usually when there's kind of gray area sexual situations going on with a player, I won't wear the jersey, but I had to pump it up. It's a Bibby jersey, and Bibby's going through a bit of an issue. Now, if it was a possible rape, I would not wear the jersey. There is a sexual harassment situation going on at the school that Bibby coaches at, but let's not get into that. You can't see the number. Okay, let's get to work. Chad Ocho says, Mikey Garcia now plus 300. Jump on the LoBaggers. Thank you, Chad Ocho. Okay, it's a Bibby jersey. It's number 10, Bibby. Okay, let's get to work. Capitals at Flyers. Flyers continue to roll, but it may be too little too late. And I may owe Tormarino Tomor $100. And it will be American. I won't throw you 100 Canadian. They're coming off a big 4-1 win on the road against the Islanders on Sunday, but they're only 5 points out of the playoff spot, but all these teams look like they're winning right now. I doubt that they're going to get it. Adam Lastman says, no, Red Most, though. You can't say that, Red Most, though. It almost caught me. Remember, I can't laugh. Okay, Tomo Reno says, Voracek is out. Capitals being undervalued on the road all year. Ovechkin is healthy. Flyers aren't a good team, getting outshot in every game. Yes, they're getting outshot in every game, but Brian Elliott is playing very, very, very well right now. Scott Channing, Pete, please fill this chat up with how much you love my man, the legend, Lodos Loshek. Gate Pass Key in the house. Beautiful. Says the Caps are trying to tap into the feeling they had last playoffs as they approach. They will play with confidence moving forward. Philly can't go head-to-head with the Caps. Caps puck line. Joe Anisi says, when you come to New Jersey, New York? Man, I hope soon. And you know I'll be in touch with you. Okay, you guys, stop guessing whose jersey it is because I can't laugh. Okay, so Flyers are moved within 5 points of the final playoff spot, 4-1 in their last 5 games. Brian Elliott stayed hot, 29 saves, 9th win of the season, been thriving since Carter Hart got hurt. Konechny, Sanheim, Loughton, Couturier. Now, Konechny, Sanheim, Loughton, those are the guys we're going to be talking about because Voracek's out. Nolan Patrick is out. They're both out right now. Now, Capitals are coming off their 4th straight win, 3-2 shootout victory Sunday on the road against the Rangers. Shout out to Pac-Man, my man, little Pac-Man in the house. Joy Jack, liking the Flyers' money line. Capitals are now tied atop the Metropolitan Division with the Islanders, 4 points up on the Hurricanes and Penguins, 6 up on the Jackets, 11 up on the Flyers. Washington is a completely healthy squad. Shout out to Jorge, don't play. Shout out to Mr. Gokster. Torino says Capitals have been a streaky team most of the year. They're playing great right now. They are playing great right now. So are the Flyers. And I personally don't see value on either side. Let's break down the movement quickly and then move on to the next game because I'm not making a move on this spot. I'm going to go to money lines and totals, SBRodds.com. Washington is a favorite. They opened up at minus 125. BetOnline's now moved that 6 cents to minus 119. And the over is at 6.5. And money, look at this total. The total's had a lot of movement. Interesting. Very interesting. Washington, Philadelphia. The over opens huge plus money to the over. Over 6.5 at plus 113. And wow, we have a 23-cent move. As soon as the Sharp saw that over hanging at a plus spot, they hammered it. That's a 23-cent move at BetOnline. Over 6.5, we've had people talking about it here on the chat. Kevin Pine says, I like the under 6.5 going against the market. Rico Money says Capitals minus 120. And I tell you what, you got Moss says Philly plus 107 looks tasty, but I'm off this game, maybe at the under. I agree with that. Oh, Tormina says Patrick Light is likely to play. He's got a concussion. He took a shot in the head, a Cal Clutterbuck shot in the head. I wasn't sure if he was at practice this morning. Okay, thank you for the heads up, Tom Marino. Beautiful. Carlos Burrow says love the under 6.5. Adam Lassman says Caps win 6-3. Oh, man. Team Money says 16 probably to win 20 grand. Second time that's happened in 3 weeks. You know, Team Money, when you're coming so close to those huge scores, you know you're going to get one soon. That's the only way to frame it. You know you're going to get one soon because you keep coming so close to those huge scores. There's one coming. All right. I am off this game at this point, but I will be going over it all day. Let's move on. We have 4 games. I want to spend most time breaking down this basketball card with my squad here. The LoBaggers were killing NBA working together. Maple Leafs at Canucks. Now, Alex Edler has come back to the Canucks. I said over and over and over to you guys how this Canucks team was going to stop scoring without Edler in the lineup, and he's come back and they've still not been scoring. They've been shut out 3 times in their last 9 games, 2 times in their last 5 games. You know, as you guys talk about the totals in the Capitals-Flyers game, I know I want to move on to the Canucks game, but this huge move towards the over 6.5 is interesting, and both teams have bad penalty killing and power plays that are stepping up, and that's probably the reason. Now, the Capitals' power play has stepped up after it fell off. They're still ranked 11th at 21.9%. Flyers' power play at 20th at 17.7%. But let's move on to this Leafs-Canucks spot. First off, I'm going to jump on the Leafs minus 1.5. And the under 6.5 is very appealing, but I want to talk it out with you guys. Leafs coming off an extremely impressive 6-2 win over the Flames in Calgary on Monday night. Marner, goal and 2 assists. The guy's rolling. Absolutely rolling. 3 goals, 7 assists the last 4 games. Leafs have won 5 of 6, scoring at least 5 in each of those wins. Tyler Ennis gets a hat trick after being a healthy scratch. Now they still have no Nazem Kadri out with a concussion, and they're looking great without Gardner and Dermott. They said that they had depth on the blue line, and I thought that was bullshit, but they're proving that they do. Canucks coming off a 3-0 loss at Vegas on Sunday. The Knights outshot the Canucks 48-19. 48-19. That's how bad this Canucks squad's playing. Canucks return home after getting 1 point on their 3-game road trip. They got Alexander Edler back, but they're still missing Tanev. And now Ben Hutton did not practice on Tuesday. He blocked a shot in the 3rd period against Vegas, didn't practice. Had his foot wrapped in ice after the game, status unclear. Brandon Sutter, undergone sports hernia surgery. He's out. Sven Berchi, Jake Vertan, and Ryan Spooner all hurt. Boris Collins says, man, I got to start watching hockey, so at least I know something when we break down the NHL. Rico Money, Rico Money saying over 24.5 in the Grand Slam, That was the second time. I believe it was Jeff Joseph who said, should we take the under in Grand Slam? And I don't usually play salami. Second time where I was like, yeah, I was looking at the under in this one. Second time I didn't take it, and the cash these. Rico Money says Leafs minus 1.5. I find the under very appealing because the Canucks can't score. And Markstrom is playing absolutely incredible. Markstrom is playing better than I've ever seen him play in his whole career. I find both these plays interesting. First, let's take a look at what I would get on the minus 1.5. Point spread here. Leafs plus 140 at Heritage, and I will take it. Thank you to our friends at Heritage. Leafs minus 1.5 at plus 140. And then let's take a quick look at the total. And Richie Rich said Toronto 4-1 last 5 unders head-to-head. And Pappy Longwood says fade 6.5s and 7s. I agree. Now, I've been burnt by the Leafs unders. But Markstrom is playing so spectacularly well. So well. Mr. Ghost says he hasn't seen the Leafs yet, though, Jimmy. I hear you. They're a great team. Oh, Lamont Williams coming in with his best bet. Let me grab that. That Bowling Green game hit me hard last night, man. Lost $450 on the 3 units, but still a 7-7 day, and I'll take it. Cash Clip says, I'm riding with you. Let's take a look at this total and see if we jump on right now at the under 6.5. It's Markstrom is playing so well. I've been losing on Toronto unders, but the guy is just playing lights out right now. And I'm getting a 6.5, and I'm going to take it. This Canucks team's not scoring. Anderson's playing well. I wonder, do you think there's a chance that Garrett Sparks plays tonight? Do you guys think there's a chance that Sparks plays? I know that the Leafs need these wins desperately. Sparks was just re-signed for $750 next year. If Sparks was to end up playing against this weak Vancouver squad, then you'd get a better line on the under, you'd get a better line on the -1.5. That's the only thing that scares me. The only thing that scares me. Okay, Don Reach says Leafs left Long Island pissed off. Terrified these last 3 weeks. They were embarrassed. -1.5 is the play. Flames can win this 5-2, 5-3. You know what? I need to know that it's going to be Frederik Andersen in goal. So I'm actually going to wait to make the under 6.5 on the late show. And also, Dom just kind of scared me a bit. If I know, you got monsters, I can see a letdown by Toronto on the back-to-back. It's not a back-to-back. I mean, they didn't play last night. So it's not a back-to-back. Crane game in the house. First season on Bet on NHL. I'm 15-3. Love it. Beautiful. And Renmo saying not a back-to-back. Yeah, it's not a back-to-back. So I'm going to wait. I have a fear. If I know it's Frederik Andersen versus Markstrom, I'm going to take the under 6.5. But I'm going to wait. So I'm on -1.5 plus 140. Let's keep rolling because I want to take a lot of time on the NBA cards. Blues at Ducks. Jake Allen versus John Gibson. I was very happy to see Ryan Miller in goal last night because I was like, man, how much value are the Ducks going to have tonight against the Blues? And money keeps pouring in on the Blues. Let's check out what they are money line right now. It just keeps pouring in. Now, I don't know if I'm going to take the Ducks, but I know I'm not taking the Blues. Opens at -152 at BetOnline, now -180. Anaheim opens up at +137 at BetOnline, now +162. Man. Blues coming off 4-1 loss at home to the Stars on Saturday. Now lost 4-6. Outscored 9-3 over the last 2 games. They'll be very happy to get their first-line center, Braden Shen, back for this. Now, Shen's actually not been playing center because he's playing on line with Tarasenko and Ryan O'Reilly, so he can play a lot of different spots. He's missed the last 3 games with upper body injury. He said he felt good following practice. David Perron didn't make the trip to California, but he's on the ice. Been sidelined since January 17th. Cash Clip says he's got 500 on a puck line. I like it. I like it. I'm only going to have 200 on it, but I will be cheering for you, Cash Clips. Ducks are on the second half of a back-to-back 3-1 win at Arizona last night. Oh, and Robbie Tagalo said, I'm going to the Ducks game tonight. Beware of an OT game. 6 last 8 have gone to OT. You're right. My man Robbie Tagalo went to a game earlier this year, and he couldn't make, with his book, he couldn't make the goes to a shootout bet because I wanted him to make it, and it was like 8 or 9 to 1. But he took overtime, cashed the +230 to 1. And Mr. Gokster, how about that under in New York, Dallas? Jimmy happily tailed. Mr. Gokster, thank you so much for the help there. Thank you so much for the help and the push there. Okay, Cash Clip says Blues. Let's talk more about this. So, they've now won 2 straight after losing 5 straight, but they've won 4 straight with Getzlaf in the lineup. 5 of 6 with Getzlaf in the lineup. I love Getzlaf. Guy does everything. I love his brother too, Chris Getzlaf, wide receiver in the CFL. Ducks are 5-6 under Bob Murray. Ducks have lost Evan Short day-to-day after a violent knee-on-knee collision Saturday against the Avalanche. Also, Richie, lower body. Derek Grant, upper body. The big thing is Brandon Gould also hurt himself last night, upper body injury. So, Adam Lastman says Ducks lose 3-2. I'm going to wait and take more time because I don't want to just jump back on the Ducks because I was pumping my fist so hard last night. And Mr. Ghost are like in the under 5.5. And my man Scott said, Jimmy, you got me loving hockey. You got to take the family to see some Hurricanes games. You got to, Scott. What a great team. Sebastian Aho is a superstar. And Rod Brindamore is your coach. That's how it starts, man. That's how you guys are going to be great, great team. Shout out to May 910 from Alaska in the house. Richie Rich, his only play is over in St. Louis for St. Louis. Back-to-back, Ducks break down in the third period all the time. You have a great point there. Great point. Lil 636 says Ducks under 2.5, possible good play. I'm shocked that Jake Allen's listed here. It's going to be Binnington, I expect. You got Moss says Blues hopefully have a breakout game and over at +124. I love those big plus line overs, and I wish if I had taken that Bruins Carolina Hurricanes over 5.5 yesterday, that huge plus line, then I would have had a great night. Whatever. Bud Nino says, whatever happened to Bill Butlicker, Jimmy? He switched his name from Bill Butlicker to Buffalo on the Beat, but he's not been here enough, and I miss him. I'll reach out to him. Okay, so I'm off the Ducks, but I tell you what I'm not going to do is take the Blues. Now, Flames at Golden Knights. This Golden Knights team is playing spectacularly well. Flames and Sharks, they need to battle for first place in the Pacific, because if you're second, you have to play the Golden Knights. In saying all that, Tomorino says Carolina is replacing Columbus' secret team in the East. I agree. The Knights are starting to roll, and I'm going to back them here. -1.5. They're playing very, very good. Coming off a 3-0 win over the Canucks, dominated the contest. They outshot the Canucks 48-19. Listen to the scoring chances in the Knights-Ducks game. 29-3 for Vegas. I have not read a stat on scoring chances like that ever in my life. I'm sure it's happened, but I just have never read it. Vancouver went almost 15 minutes without a shot in the third period. When they're down, they got 5 shots on goal in the third period. Marc-Andre Fleury is flourishing, playing incredibly well. Leads NHL in games played, shutouts, tied for wins with Frederik Andersen. Named the league's #1 star of the week, back-to-back shutouts. Vegas still missing Eric Howley. He's been out all year, William Carrier, but this is how healthy they've been all year. Vegas trails Calgary by 12 points with just 15 games to go, but they have 2 games against the Flames in the 5-day span. Team Money says, I like the Knights here. Lamont Williams says, I need 2 good NHL picks today, bro. Yeah, I had a winning day in NHL, but the Avalanche nor the Stars, neither of those teams covered. They won, but didn't cover the -1.5, and I feel bad about that. Mike Smith was terrible versus Minnesota. David Riddick was terrible versus the Leafs. James Neal's out with a lower body injury. I'm on the Las Vegas Golden Knights -1.5, and I will give you those 2 plays right now, Lamont. Point spreads -1.5. Golden Knights. Wow, +185 at 5 dimes. That's the best. +185, I love that. Okay, I'm on 2 puck lines. I say if you want to back 1 play, probably I'd back this Vegas play, but I would take them both at a half unit. I'm on the Vegas Knights -1.5, +185, and the Toronto Maple Leafs -1.5, +140. Okay, let's get into this basketball card, start breaking these games down. I wish I didn't take so long in the intro. And okay, I've not made any plays yet. It's very important for me to see the chat, because when we work together, that's how we cash. Spreads and totals. Carlos Bro says, taking Calgary at plus money. I'm telling you. Tomorino says, Knights still have a shot to win the division. No, not at all. Not at all. There's too many games where the Flames and Sharks are playing against weak opponents. Remember, it's the Pacific Division, so they don't have any chance. I would love to see if 538.com where somebody would put out a percent, but it would have to be under 2%. I would say they have a 1.5% chance, if that. So if you want to bet it, I'm sure you'll get an enormously high number, because they don't have any chance. There's just too many. I mean, Calgary and San Jose play each other twice at least, so someone's getting 2 points there. It's not going to happen. Okay, let's roll. Miami, Charlotte. This total opened at 219.5 down to 215.5. Charlotte opens as 1.5 point favorites, now 3.5. Hornets and Heat tied at 29 and 34, neck and neck with Orlando for that 8th and final spot. They meet twice in 12 days. Charlotte coming off that 118-108 loss at home to the Blazers on Sunday. They've now lost 8 of 11. I hear you, Tom Marino. If you need a little hope on your future pick, take it. Take it. I completely disagree. I couldn't disagree more that they have a shot. It's just, these 3-point games in NHL. If you got 3 points for a win and not 2, then maybe they would have a shot. But it just doesn't work like that. Big Ragu says Vegas struggles at home. I say you put a line through everything that's happened with this Vegas team, as they right now are playing better than any team in the Western Conference. They're playing phenomenally well. And Babino broke it down great on Thursday on our last show talking about, but let's get into it. Frank Kaminsky was almost bought out a month ago. Now he's seeing the floor and playing well. 15 on Friday against Brooklyn, 18 versus Portland. Him and Zeller, at least they can run the floor. Joey Bagamouche said, Jimmy, you think the Sharks split the over in points, 101.5? I didn't take that bet, but I would have to study that closer. I couldn't just guess right now. I'd have to see how many games left, how many points. I'll take a look. Tomino says Charlotte's coming off 2 home losses. I think they roll here. The Bucks have adjusted to Miami's good road winning rate. You're right. They have adjusted. And now that's why the money came in on the Hornets. Hornets are a healthy squad. Heat are coming off squeaking by Atlanta Hawks 114-113. I really think Tomor nailed this one. And Tom Marino, it's not Calgary that's the issue. It's the Sharks as well. I mean, if it was just Calgary, that would be different. But you have to jump over two teams that have double-digit leads on you with so few games left. Dark Kent saying Marquette moneyline play of the day. Dan Kelly, my favorite NBA bet of the day. Denver minus 5.5. If Denver minus 5.5, then the under 231. That is a copy and paste situation, Dan. Was thinking about you in that great Syracuse-Virginia game. Watching Virginia pull away in the second half. Thinking about you, Dan. I hope you had a great night with the fam. Okay, let's keep rolling, and we need to work together here. So, I think Tom Marino's on the right track here with the Hornets. It feels like a spot where the Heat might let down. Goran Dragic, left calf strain, missed his second straight game on Monday night, and he's listed as out. Whiteside is back, but he's coming off the bench. Goran Dragic is the only one on the Heat injury report. Hornets won both meetings earlier this season. And Al Hard said, Jimmy, I like Ski. He's been on his shit with the stats. You know he is. He's a quiet assassin. Ski life. Tormino says Charlotte's last two home losses were to Portland and Houston. And Portland didn't miss in the fourth, and Houston's playing better than anyone. That's a great point. That's a great point. I feel like the Hornets are the play here. I agree. I think this Heat team is a little more tired than they look. Torrance saying Dragic out. I think this Hornets team is a little more tired than they look. How fast is this? 3.5? All you need is a Hornet victory. I mean, the Heat have been playing some very tough games in a row. Trevor Loudon said, Jimmy, is that a map of Vancouver? Yes, it is, my friend. The hat is a map of Vancouver. Corey Mack liking the Hornets. This makes sense. Board Scholar got Hornets minus 1.5. I like that. Upper Wando also on Charlotte. Playoff Street says, I'm all in on the Hornets for y'all. I agree in jumping on. Big Guy Bubba says Heat plays good on the road, but they've had big games. They've had too many big games. Dan Kelly said, I had a great night, but if I had been at home, I would have had Virginia in the second half. It's just like the Duke game and look for Q's to do that in March. Yeah. Sharp Money says this is a pass. I agree. Big Rigu says fade to 3 at Charlotte. I think the Heat have been playing a lot of tough games in a row. Even that 114-113 game would look like too difficult. Tomio saying Hornets young players play much better at home. We got the Matt Randall's team play the day in action. I'm going to jump on the Hornets. I agree with you guys. I just feel like too many tough games in a row, and basically the Hornets just have to win. I have copied and pasted the team play today. I will share that. Okay, I'm jumping on the Hornets right now. Charlotte Hornets -3 and -110. That's at Pinnacle. That's the best line. Get on the threes while you can. Bet online at -116, so that's moving to 3.5. All right, moving early on the Hornets. Let's grab them. We got to keep rolling through these games. Now remember, we're going to have Jay Money is Money on the Late Show, and then I will be on King's Court. So we're going to have a lot of time to break down these games. Jeff Joseph says, Jimmy, great to hear your CFL shout out. You know I love the CFL. Man, love it. And I love Chris Getzlaff. What a tough wide receiver he was. Loved him best on the Green Riders. Luke DM says Denver -4.5 play of the day. Sadly. Oh, Luke, you're funny, man. Okay, Playoff Street says Derek Jones back for the Heat makes their defense intense. They play more zone. Wow, and T Money says Hornets 0-8 last 8 in first quarter. That's a really interesting move there. Taking the Heat first quarter. Because, yeah, I could see the Heat playing early. Let's move on to Timberwolves at Pistons. Pistons playing their best basketball of the season. Coming off 112-107 overtime win over the Raptors on Sunday. They've now won 9-11. The key is they're hitting outside shots and getting production from players other than Griffin and Drummond. Reggie Jackson, the enigma, averaging 19.7 points, 4.3 assists over the last 10 games. And Luke Kennard, 17 or more points in 4 of the last 5 games. Love seeing that. Zaza Pachulia, Achilles inflammation, doubtful. If Pachulia don't play, there'll be more John Lure, but how much more? 15 minutes, maybe? Pachulia is the only Piston on the injury report. Wolves on the second half of a back-to-back after beating the Thunder 131-120 last night. What a Jekyll and Hyde team these guys are. You see them at home, and you're like, man, this is a good squad. Then you see them on the road, and they're unbelievably bad. They play well offensively and terrible defensively. They shot 52.8% from the field last night. Karl-Anthony Towns, spectacular play since returning from the car crash, goes off for 41. Wolves have lost 4 of 6 and allowed an average of 132 points in those losses. Shout out to David Stewart. Miss you, man. Robert Covington remains out with a knee injury. Luol Deng unlikely with an Achilles injury. Corey Mack says Pistons also in playoff atmosphere mindset. Must win at home. They will get it done. Board Scholar says fade the Timberwolves on the road. I agree. I agree. Troy V says love Pistons here. How do you back T-Wolves on the road? Sharp Money says can't get the Wolves right. Pepper says fade the Wolves. Playoff Street says Pistons can make at least 10 threes. They're tough as hell to be. Yeah, I mean, this was the worst outside shooting team in the league until what, a month ago? David Stewart says too many points for the Pistons, but I like him. That's my only concern, is it too many points? Opens up -3, now it's -5.5. Total opens up 225.5, now it's 223.5, or 224 bookmaker, 223 is a pinnacle. Is it too many points? That's the question. That's the question. Is it too many points? Because I think they win. So I'm going to put a lean right now and not make a move. Let's keep rolling down this card. Mavericks at Wizards. Now, the Mavericks are terrible. And I say it over and over again. And then I won. I had the Nets -5 when the Nets finally got their shit together. But that was almost more of a fade of the Mavericks than betting on the Nets. But then I had the Pacers in Dallas. And that blew up in my face. Now, this Maverick squad is so bad on the road, but Carlisle just had a meeting, closed-door meeting after the game, so do they bounce back here? That's my concern. And it's a big concern. Wizards coming off a 135-121 win at home over the Timberwolves. Portis goes for 26 and 12. Bradley Beal, Jabari Parker get 22 points each. Portis goes 10 for 8 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. The Wizards came in averaging 18 turnovers, and they only committed 8 against the Timberwolves. Scott, my man Scott says, way to crush that Boston pick. Jimmy last night missed that one. Yeah, it felt good. David Stewart says, I agree, Jimmy. Loved them to win, but 5.5 is tough. Could go either way. Raul Pawano on the under, and that's a smart look. But I just had such a bad read on these Timberwolves totals. Corey Mack says, Wizards are no play. Well, I'm close to making a move on the Wizards. My man Jose Villa says, I miss the Hartford Whalers, Quebec Nordiques in the league, Jimmy. So do I. How about those Whalers jerseys last night? They were so beautiful. Okay. Mavericks off a disastrous 127-88 loss at Brooklyn on Monday night. They've now lost 7 of 8, 8 of 10, all by at least 9 points are getting destroyed. But Carlisle had that closed-door meeting. He addressed the team after the game. He's not happy. Dallas has beaten Washington in 5 straight, 16 of the last 17. Let's take a quick look at the line movement there. Washington opens up at -6.5, and money coming in on Dallas. There's no more important situational sport than the association, and this makes me uncomfortable. DJ Big Boss says, what about the under in the Dallas game? The Wizards and the Wolves, I just can't take unders with. They just don't play defense. This total opens up at 231.5, shot up to 234, and I don't want to go against a market move in the NBA. David Stewart said, I'll take Dallas plus 5.5. Christopher Comentini says a Nordique jersey would be sweet, Jimmy. Yeah. Who would I get, man? Michel Goulet? Joe Sakic, get a Stastny, brother? All right, Steve Cordero giving a baseball play. Torino said I lean Dallas first quarter. I'm going to stay off this spot. And I'm going to move on to Spurs at Hawks. Spurs head to Atlanta after sweeping a 3-game homestand. The final game was a down-to-the-last-shot 104-103 victory over Denver on Monday. Okay, sorry guys. Okay, DeMar DeRozan, 24 points in the win. Aldridge goes for 22. Rudy Gay for 14 and Derek White for 11. Spurs have won 7 games in a row at home, but now they go on the road. This is also a Bob Taylor, Lindros, Nordiques, never. Conjure Gaming says sack. Okay, Spurs at Hawks. The issue here, to me, is all the injuries that the Hawks are dealing with. Now, they're going to get Taurean Prince back. He's expected to play. He was out for the birth of his son. Do you mind, we're just getting the audio out for you just for a second. I got to hammer through these last couple games. Very excited to have Drew on the show. My man Drew Martin, who saved my NCAA card when I jumped on Auburn. Both Auburn and the Air Force first half gave me a 7-7 night. So shout out to Drew Martin. Can't wait to have him on. Okay. All right. Harlem J in the house. JC Alvarez in the house. Okay. So we have Torian Prince back. John Collins still dealing with the flu. Dwayne Dedman, right knee contusion, doubtful. Omari Spellman, left ankle sprain. And Miles Plumlee getting close to return, but not back. Shout out to Dave L.A. in the house, our MLB baseball expert. So what do we do? What do we do with this spot? Now, Podol, hamstring tightness, is the only guy on the injury report. These are just too many injuries for the Hawks, but they seem to be stepping up, and despite these injuries, and the Spurs can't be trusted on the road. At this point, I'm not making a move, Spurs-Hawks, but we will be breaking these games down with Jay Money's Money on the Late Show, and then I'll be on King's Court tonight. Let's move on to Cavaliers at Nets. Oh, let's see. Thanks, LoBaggers. I'll be taking a closer look at the over in Mavs Wiz, says my man Corey Mack. Not backing aside. All right. Cavaliers Nets. After 3 straight ugly losses, difficulties reincorporating LeVert and Dinwiddie into the lineup, the Nets smashed. They dominated in the paint, but how easy is it to dominate the Mavs in the paint? Who are you going up against? Big Dick Diggler? I mean, Nowitzki can't do any pushing around in the paint. Either can Keebler. I mean, their paint's atrocious. They dominate the paint, outscored the Mavs 56-22, out-rebound them 48-36. Brooklyn also shot 56.5%. When you shoot 56.5%, you're going to beat anybody. Travion Graham had a back injury, so it wasn't in the starting power forward spot. And I was saying, you never want to cheer someone to get hurt, but I was saying, get him out. They put in Canucks, and they roll. They move Chris LeVert out of the starting lineup, bring him in off the bench, have Alan Crabb in the starting lineup, and they roll. Canucks hit 5 3-pointers, scored 19. LeVert scored 18 off the bench. Get the pressure off of him. Jose Villegas says, yeah, I think I'm going to meet about to beat the bag and let you guys know all about it, but I think we're just going to move it. So, Travion Graham, the only net on the injury report. The Cavs responded from that disgrace at home against Detroit by beating the Magic. They played well against the Magic. Now, what do you do with this Magic squad? They just are hard to trust. So who cares? Maybe we just put a line through it. But Jordan Clarkson playing very well. Goes for another double figure. Goes for 18. Colin Sexton 17. Love 16 and 14. Nets have won the first 2 meetings. Now no Zizic for the Cavs. He's being ruled out with a concussion. No Tristan Thompson. Let's just check quickly the line movement here. Cleveland, Brooklyn. Opens Brooklyn minus 10.5. Now 9.5. Now a 9 on Bet Online. So it's a 1.5 move at Bet Online. This total's crept up a 1.5. Sharp Money says Brooklyn will cover, and Adam Lastman liking the over. That over is interesting. That over might be a spot. I like that over. I might make a move on it. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Torrance says I lean Nets. Cavs have been inconsistent off losses. Brooklyn's cleaned up at home against bad teams. Troy V says, is this a Jimmy Classic? It's not because the Nets won't be overlooking the Cavs. The Nets got to get right. It's just been 1 win, and they got to get right. So I don't feel like this is the right spot. But Board Scholar does. Sports Scholar does. And Dan Kelly says the difference in those 2 games was Love. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And Love's going to be in the lineup here. That's a great point, Dan. Okay, let's just keep rolling because we got to get to my man, Drew Martin. Sixers at Bulls. Both teams on the second half of a back-to-back. Bulls on the second half back-to-back after losing 105-96 to Indiana last night. Still playing their best basketball of the season, 6-5 over the past 11. Averaging 118.5 points per game, even though they just got 96 in Indiana. Since trading for Otto Porter, Bulls are 6-3 when he plays. That's a nice nucleus. Markkanen, Levine, Porter, and who knows, maybe Zion. Sixers coming off that 114-106 home win over the Magic last night. Shout out for Ski Profit. To Ski Profit for getting me off the Magic. Joel Embiid did not play Tuesday and will not play tonight. They call up Justin Patton because their bigs are so messed up. That over was so easy. I talked about no paint presence. When there's no paint presence, the scoring goes up. When you're afraid to go in the paint, you have to shoot 44% plus to get the overs. Joe Anisi says Cavs cover with points. Pepper says Cavs cover easily. So, Bolden, sinus infection, did not play Tuesday. Sinus infection isn't a cold. He could be out again tonight. Amir Johnson, upper back tightness, played 20 minutes. Looked okay. Scored 14 points. Sixers are 4-2 in the games without Embiid. Ben Simmons playing great. I was shocked he won Eastern Conference Player of the Week, but they don't care about turnovers, I guess, because the guy's averaging 7 or 8 turnovers a game. 16.7 points, 13.3 boards, 8 assists. And Tobias Harris playing very well. Eric Jones says under in the Sixers, 228. Yeah, because maybe I just feel like the paint's going to be wide open again. Let's move on to Jazz at Pelicans. Jazz, Pelicans face each other for a second time in 3 days. This game has J Money written all over it. I just hear J Money saying revenge. Revenge. And I think of our cappers in the chat, Jin Rummy being one of them, who's been backing the Pelicans with so much value lately. Pelicans beat the Jazz 115-112 on Monday. Me staying away from all Jazz games has saved me money. Well, it cost me money, obviously, in the beginning of the year. That's why I had to stay away from them. Dave L.A. won 5 straight, fading the Pelicans first quarter. And he's on it again. Is it just -1 first quarter? Come on. Is it just -1, Dave? That seems like a great play. The Jazz have to come out strong. Wow, -1 or 1.5. Wow, I'm with you, Dave. I'm with you. Thank you, Dave L.A. I'm going to take Jazz first quarter, -1 and -115. They got to come back hard. I love it. Pittsburgh Bruce had been crushing Pelicans Grizzlies money line since All-Star break. Wow, you must have been huge scores. And there's Tom Marino. I think the value's with Utah first quarter. All right, I love it. Jeff Joseph says, how about doing Kentucky Derby show up here at Woodbine? Oh, man, Jeff Joseph, you know we're going to party. You know we're going to party. Okay. Dave L.A., I'm with you. Playoff Streets is with you, too. Board Scholar says, -1's amazing. Okay, so we got to get to my man Drew Martin. We have Knicks at Suns. You know what? Let's just talk about it very briefly. It looks like DeAndre Jordan's going to return. I think that might even hurt the Knicks a little bit. You know, trying to work him back in. I don't think he plays very, very long. Suns completed a surprising sweep of the leading Milwaukee Bucks, 161-14 on Monday night. So you think maybe they have a letdown. But this is what Booker said after the game. He said, we're not backing down to anybody. He said, after the All-Star break, a lot of teams could shut it down, but we're not. Feels like a new season for us. He was talking about him and Oubre. He said, Kelly and I were just talking. We wish the season just started right now. We're ready for every game. We're coming at teams, and we're ready for it. TJ Warren being ruled out with an ankle injury. Are the Suns to play here? Take a quick look at movement here. New York. Oh, that's first quarter. Shit, sorry. Got to get to Drew right now, man. Okay, I'm going to try to get this done in a minute. New York, -4 and -3.5. Money coming in. Or sorry, Suns, -4, -3.5, which means money coming in on the Knicks. I'll hold off. Carlos Bro says, Knicks, Suns, who cares? Okay, I feel you. Now, Celtics and Kings. Boston lost 5 of 6 before beating up on the Warriors last night. Now, I had Celtics plus 8.5 in the under. Shout out to Ski, got me on the under. Before the game, Shaq said Celtics by 10. Sure enough, the Celtics need to get out of Boston. And that happens sometimes. Get on the road. Get on the road with your boys and focus on basketball. Aaron Baines came back. He's a huge piece of this team. DA Sports New York says, let's get on the Celtics train now. I see them going on a run before the playoffs. Tonight looks like the first half is a great spot, -1 and -1.5. It might be a great spot. It might be. Third time this season, the Celtics won in the opener of consecutive back-to-backs, and they've not swept on the other 2. And the Kings have a lot to play for, although I thought they looked bad against the Knicks in that 115-108 win. Harrison Barnes, we talking about defensive accountability. Harrison Barnes says, coming here, I always said there are plenty of people to score the basketball, so that's something that I don't necessarily have to focus on. Rebounding and defending. Those are the things I try to do every night, be able to get the win. He goes off for 22 and 10. But I don't like the way they look without Bagley. Troy V says, Celtics put together 2 straight wins. No way. Playoff Street says, I like Celtics, man. They back against the wall. Shout out to my man, Dennis Selleck. Joey Jackline, Kings money line. This is a late game that I can hammer on Kings Court tonight and on the Late Show with Jay Money. Then we have Nuggets and Lakers. Let's not break this game down because it's a late game we can do on the Late Show with my man, Jay Money, and on Kings Court that I'll be on tonight. But Lakers free fall. Will it continue? The Nuggets need to win here. I mean, this is a Nuggets team that has to step up. I mean, that was just horrifyingly. I mean, they came back against San Antonio. But what? They've lost 3 straight games, and they're healthy. So, just like the Nets figured out their guard rotation after 3 bad games, do the Nuggets do it here? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Malone said that this is good for us, meaning the 3-game losing streak. Said, as much as we hate to go through it, losing 3 in a row, this kind of failure If we're willing to learn from it, it can be positive. Let's see what kind of fight we have. Let's see what kind of resolve we have. This is a healthy roster. Board Scholar says, fade the Lakers, man. I'm tired of these dudes. Nuggets a better team. All right. So right now, we're going to hammer this NBA card all day. I'm going to study all afternoon. We're going to hammer it with Jay Money on the late LoBag show. And then I'm going to be on King's Court tonight. And Torino says Kuzma out. I'd lean Denver, but Harris still doesn't look healthy. And Christopher Covington is saying Kuzma out. All right, so on this card, I am tailing my man, Dave LA. Oh, and again, Dan Kelly says, get on this while you can. First half, Denver -3 easy, or even money. Cormac says, Denver will get back to their winning ways tonight, but at the same time, LA will cover. Nuggets money line, Lakers +5.5. Both get there tonight. Interesting. Yeah, maybe you're right, Dan. Maybe, just the motivation angles. But you're right, Nuggets got to come back hard. Pepper says Nuggets roll, no Kuz, no Ingram. I think that Ingram may be back here. Let's see. I think that Ingram might be back here. I may jump on that Nuggets first half, but I need to get Drew Martin out on the show immediately. So the only play, I'm tailing Dave LA on his fade of the Pelicans first quarter. I'm on Jazz -1, -115 first quarter. That's a great bet. Shout out to Dave LA. And then I'm on the Hornets. I'm on the Hornets -3. I think the Heat are tired. I think the Heat are a tired crew. And I have a lean towards the Pistons. I think it might be 20 points. Okay, that's it. Let's move on. Let's get my man, Drew Martin, in the house. Drew Martin, your call on Auburn helped me, extremely helped me. I was 5-7. Now, you know what's funny? When I was watching the Auburn game, I actually counted it as a loss in the first half. And I was going over my numbers as if it was a loss. So to see them come back and cover is one of those switches. You know, when you count something as a loss and then it wins, it's huge for your night. And it was huge for my night. So thank you so much for that Auburn play. It was very, very big and very helpful. My man, Drew Martin, in the house. Shout out to Drew Martin. Thank you for joining Low Shack in the Bag. Drew, how you doing?
Jimmy, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on. It was fun watching it and watching the chat, especially. You know, all the low baggers in the house, everybody kind of acting like a family, looking for plays, looking to beat the odds makers, to beat the books. It's a fun time. I love being on the show, man. Thanks for having me on. And glad you followed on Auburn. You know, I wish they all could be like that. Purdue didn't come in for me yesterday, but Auburn, FSU, a couple others did and a couple others didn't. But overall, okay day yesterday, and I'm glad I got you on the right side on at least one of them, man.
Yeah, it was extremely helpful. Extremely helpful. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. True, I've never had, the quantity of games you end up betting in college basketball, but 7-7 2 nights ago and 7-7 last night, man. It's a roller coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride, but I love it. Drew, let's get right into it because we don't have too much time, and I can't wait to hear your early looks on this card. First off, I don't know what you're looking at. We haven't connected this morning. I was very busy. What are you looking at right now on this early card? And then I'll start throwing games at you.
Yeah, sure. Actually, you know, it is a big card with all the small conferences coming up, and that's something I rely on Max a little more for our later show. But in terms of today's card, there was 2 games I was actually looking at. One game I already bet. In the SEC, LSU at Florida. This is one game I'm looking at. 2 teams I know pretty well. I've seen them play a bunch of times already. 7 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN2. And this is an LSU team that's pretty talented. It's a team that I think could make a run in March. And head coach Will Wade, it's not a team that's going to push the pace at all costs, but they will look to go a little bit more up-tempo, especially compared to Florida, who's one of the slower teams in the country. But LSU, really their offensive rebounding is up there with the tops in the nation, but they are a 300 team in terms of 3-point field goal percentage. However, they do hit their free throws, and they are kind of really good around the rim, so they'll crash the boards. And it's a kind of contrast of styles because Florida, on the other hand, they're not very good offensively. They're pretty much an all-defensive team, and it's a team that goes slow pace, a number 300 team in terms of pace. So it's a contrast of styles here, and they'll also turn their opponents over a lot, Florida, and LSU doesn't do that a lot. So it's an interesting game here in Gainesville. I do think that it will stay slower pace just because LSU is not going to push it no matter what. And Florida being at home is going to go a slow pace. So I think this total, especially getting pushed up, we get an extra basket or 2 here, touching 140 now. I see 139.5. And I put a half a unit on the under, Jimmy, in the LSU Florida game.
Wow. When you guys who are experts in college basketball go against these big market moves, Pete and I we start drooling. Like, it's just so exciting. So exciting. A lot of people on the Gators here, and I know that two guys, some of the most beloved LoBaggers in the game, Trot Wham and Big Boss, are on other sides of the fence in this game. Eric Jones liking Florida -1.5. Hail to the victors. Gators win outright. Joey Jack, Gators on the pick'em. The big guy Bubba, Gators first half. And then Ethan McDonald. Oh, that's Seton Hall. Sorry, Eric Jones says Jimmy take Florida. And then Troy V says I like LSU. And there's not a lot of talk about these. Oh, Tormore says I'd lean under. There we go. Florida's half-court offense is horrible. Allen isn't a point guard. And very interesting. And OG Wham says Florida isn't good at home. And DJ Big Boss, LSU may be overvalued after recent games. Those games were close. And Tom Marino says Florida isn't good anywhere. OG Wham. Interesting breakdown early. Drew having a half unit on the under in LSU, Florida. What was the number that you got, just so I can write it down?
I just bet it at 139.5, but it looks like we're getting 140.5 now, so it's even pushed up more. So it's going against me. I'll likely jump on it again if it touches 141 or so. But it's interesting, like you just said, with these moves. And Tomar said it right in one of his, just right here, one of his in the chat box. He says Florida inside defense is great, and LSU isn't a great shooting team. So that exact thing that he just said is a big reason why I like this under.
Yeah, interesting. And we only have, you're right, a lot of small schools on this card. We only have one other ranked team, although we have some big games I want to talk about. But we only have one other ranked team, and that's Marquette. And we've already had my man Dean Williams saying that he's going to put his life on Marquette. And Dean, you're too young. You're too young, man. Let the old guys bet their life on it. Dark Kent says 10 units on Marquette. Still, Dean's putting his life on the line. Marquette, number 16 at Seton Hall. Marquette opens up at -1.5, and now there's -2s. BetOnline's already gone up a full point to -2.5. Total opens at 144, now 145 or 145.5. Drew, Marquette at Seton Hall.
Yeah, Marquette's lost 2 games, but against 2 good opponents. And I just think Marquette's the more talented team. They can push the pace as well can Seton Hall, who is one of the faster teams in the country, especially recently. But Seton Hall is just a team that's so up and down. They've lost a bunch of games in a row. It's a team I'm probably looking to fade down the stretch. This isn't a game I haven't bet yet, Jimmy, but yeah, gun to head, I would definitely be on Marquette. The number's almost head-scratching. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, but I'm with your boy. I think Marquette's the side here.
Yeah, I just, those 2-point favorites. Now, obviously, the market's moving in their side, which changes things a bit, but those 1 to 3 point road favorites, I have a losing record with. So I'm a little hesitant. We got some go, and Kevin Pine says, got to fade all college market moves. Xavier, Purdue, and Kansas games moved in the wrong direction. No doubt. Jeff Joseph said, the world on Marquette, be careful. I got some great stuff that I've copied and pasted from DA Sports NYC. I got Jansen's top plays. I got the paint play of the day. So I got lots of stuff to bring up near the end of the show. But I want to take advantage of Drew right now. There's some big games on this card today. And there's some Florida schools that I know you know very well. But we also have Missouri at Georgia. That game's a half hour early. That game's going off at 6:30. So is the Marquette Seton Hall game. Both those games going off 6:30 Eastern time. Make sure you remember that so you don't miss out. Georgia opens at -3, now -4s across the board. Total opens at 136, now 134.5 to 135.5. So it's going down. What do you think of this spot, Drew? Missouri at Georgia.
You know, Georgia is not a very good team. I don't want to, blow smoke up them, but they just beat Florida their last time out. It's a game I didn't watch, but just looking at the box score and the score, it's very surprising to see this Georgia team, go into Gainesville and come out with a win against Florida. And then Missouri, just on the other hand, they're a team that just played South Carolina. I had a pretty big play on that Saturday on the under. It ends up going over. They shoot lights out. It's a team that goes slow pace. Missouri, I've lost on them a couple times, so haven't been betting them, haven't been wanting to bet them as far as a side angle. Obviously lost on Saturday on the under. But I would look to go again on the under here in this Missouri team. The South Carolina team that they just played on Saturday, I came back and bet them again towards the under. I think both of these teams, especially, two below par teams in the SEC. Not necessarily going to be up and down the court, especially with Missouri, one of the slower teams in the country. This is a game I would look to bet the under again, but haven't gotten there yet, Jimmy.
I think the under makes sense. I also see that Robbie Tagaloa is on the under. A phenomenal NCAA basketball capper. Very interesting. I think that could be a move worth taking. Also, Dan Kelly makes a great point. He says, money management is paramount. If Dean's life is worth 1 unit, then his bet is okay. So, great call from our man, Dan Kelly. Guy thinks, man. The guy is very, very smart. We're lucky to run with him. Okay. I think that under makes sense. Robbie Tagaloa got it at 135.5. We sort of see a confused market on it. I think I'm going to jump on that. I'm going to take a look. I'm going to do a little line shopping and think about it a little more. Do you mind, Drew, and we have not talked, before the show, do you mind if I start kind of just firing games at you with the big schools and just get your quick take?
Sure. And there's also the Arkansas Vanderbilt game that I know a lot of guys are talking about in the chat box, but have at it, man.
Oh, please. Let's go right to the Arkansas Vandy game. Cause I saw a lot of people talking about it early. Arkansas opens up at -1.5. It stayed there. This total's gone up 2 points or even 3 points at some books. 3 points at Bet Online, 139.5 to 142.5. Drew, let's go there. Arkansas at Vandy.
Yeah, Christian just asked about it. Art asked about it earlier. And Vanderbilt is a team I bet a bunch towards the under. Since Garland went out early in the season, they've gone on a really nice run. If you've been betting them under the total, it's a weird place to play at home. Even when they go on the road, their pace of play has just dropped since the beginning of the season. But one thing I have noticed with betting them under, and it hasn't hit every time, it has lost. If the other team doesn't dictate the pace, meaning they're not the more talented team, whoever Vanderbilt's opposition is, because Vanderbilt isn't that talented across the board. They lost their best player heading to the NBA next year, one and done guy. And since then, it was pretty much their season. He handled the ball, everything like that. So going against Arkansas, who isn't that talented of a team, that's going to push the pace. This is a team that, is a top 30 team, I believe, in terms of offensive tempo. And that type of team kind of scares me in just betting Vanderbilt unders. So that's the one thing that's kept me off of this. Keep in mind, I've bet probably the last 10 games Vanderbilt under the total. This is one I doubt I'm going to get there because of that scenario. I'm not so sure that Vanderbilt dictates the pace or that the opposing team dictates the pace, and that this pace could get up and down the court because Arkansas is going to push the pace. They're not very good. So that just makes me think there might be short possessions and a lot of them, which that's kind of a tricky handicap to be betting the under. So it's the thing that's kept me off of this one.
I can understand. That was a great breakdown. Very, very interesting stuff. Bigger Goo jumping on the Fade Pals first quarter with my man Dave L.A. We're getting some great stuff in here. Also, Noli knows on the LaSalle Dayton under. I'm going to take a close look on those two spots. But Tom Marino is going to lead us into this next game, if you don't mind, Drew. Tom Marino says Penn State has been the most undervalued team in the Big Ten for several weeks. I think the value is with them here again against Rutgers. Let's see the spreads and totals here at SBRodds.com. Quickly, jumping in. Penn State opening at -1, now -1.5 or -2. Rutgers, a tricky fade at home. Opening total at 135, now up to 137 at 5 dimes, 136.5 across the rest of the board. Drew, what are you thinking here, Penn State, Rutgers?
My initial thoughts are to be looking Penn State, but you just kind of, I heard it in your voice as far as Rutgers is a tricky fade at home. They're also just a tricky fade of late. They've been playing teams tough, even back to some of their losses against Michigan State. They only lost about 10, sort of competitive game. In it with Iowa, I don't think the Hawkeyes are that good, but just within 2 points of them, really just playing competitive basketball in the Big Ten. They've won their last 2 games against Minnesota and Iowa. So I'm not looking to just kind of fade away with fade this Rutgers team down the stretch. Penn State, I do think, is the more talented team. Gun to head, I think Penn State's going to win it. But, in this price range, I don't feel confident enough to put my money at risk. So I stayed away in this Big Ten affair.
A lot of people liking Penn State, but my man Kevin Pine says disagree with that. Says Rutgers is my biggest bet today. So, interesting stuff. And Kobe Valentine joining us saying, I wouldn't say Marquette is the easiest pick of the day. Marquette doesn't really need to win as bad as Heaton Hall, and Howard looks not to be 100%. I agree with that feel on Howard out there. Great comments coming in from the chat. Matthew Collins says, Arkansas versus Vandy is another gross game. Vandy is going to want to win their first SEC game, on senior night. They're 8-9 at home. The problem with Vandy is that they're so bad on the road. But Matthew Collins liking Vandy. Interesting stuff. Jeff Joseph says Penn State couldn't hang with Illinois on Rutgers. And don't forget, everybody watching, that the hottest new show, and I've watched every one so far, is Drew Martin and Maxwell Smart, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. SBR's Madness breaking down the college basketball card. And starting next week, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m., which is going to be great. And Sacktown King saying that's a good point. Kobe. Well, we only have a few more minutes to break down these games. So there's some big ones I do want to ask you about, and I do love hearing your Florida team's breakdowns. But why don't we quickly just touch on Iowa State at Virginia? And I'm not surprised. When I saw this it was 7.5. It was down to 7 this morning. I thought, shit, should I jump on West Virginia plus 7? And man, can't get that anymore. Now they're 5s and 5.5. So I know it's a bad West Virginia team, but it's still a tough place to play. They're still coached well. What do you think here? Iowa State at West Virginia. And the totals dropped 4 points at some books, 3.5 at others, from 149.5 to 145 or 146. Drew, Iowa State at West Virginia.
Yeah, Jimmy, I have the same thinking as you, man. In great points. I wrote down a couple things here. One, this is 7 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPNU, so watch and win opportunity. And really, Iowa State, they lost their last 3. They lost 3 of their last 4 games. So kind of question mark there with what's going on in Ames. But this is a team that can score. A top 10 offensive efficiency team, top 80 in tempo. It's a team I don't really look to bet under because they can hit their free throws as well. And they really don't turn the ball over. And that's a team that, West Virginia in the past has done well against. This year's West Virginia team, not really as talented, not playing that frantic kind of defense that we know the Mountaineers can play under Bob Huggins. They're just 3-13 in the Big 12 this year, a number 300 team in terms of offensive field goal percentage. So they just don't have a lot of offensive talent. And in the sport of basketball, it's just hard to win when you don't have that. So this year for Bob Huggins, you can see it in his press conferences. He kind of knows it. But I will say this, and I think you just touched on it. This team hasn't quit. So if you just have West Virginia on Fade City down the stretch, I would say pump the brakes on that because this team, whatever it is, the 7-8 guys that are in the rotation, they play hard and they want to win, even though they're only 3-13 in conference. They've also had a really brutal schedule playing in the Big 12. The travel, keep in mind, from West Virginia to the rest of the Big 12, it's a longer flight. So when they're on the road, they're kind of at a disadvantage, and when they're at home, like they are tonight, it's just a little bit of a more of an advantage, in my opinion. Something to keep in your back pocket. So they can't hit their 3-pointers, they can't hit their field goals in general, Jimmy. So it's not a team I'm really looking to bet on. But I do agree with you on this under. Iowa State, something of late in their last 4 games, something just isn't right. They're not clicking on all cylinders. West Virginia can get back and play defense, and they can't score. So that's something that I haven't got yet, but I was looking at this under, just like you alluded to.
Yeah, that makes sense. Some great stuff coming from the chat. Man, how lucky are we? I can't tell you. I don't know if you saw the beginning of the show, Drew, but the chat, I had a slight, small winning day yesterday, and it was all the chat. It was all the chat. I mean, they were just pushing me in the right directions throughout the whole card, and I was just listening, as the legend Lodos Loshak would say. Great stuff coming in. Tomarino says, Iowa State basically has a 7-person rotation. They look tired. Dan Kelly liking Celtics team total over, which I think is very interesting. Very interesting. Kobe Valentine's plays Baylor minus 8.5, Seton Hall plus 2, Duquesne plus 8.5, and the money line on Duquesne plus 290. And Robbie Tagaloa liking the Iowa State, West Virginia under 149. I'm going to jump on some of these unders with Robbie and Noli knows. I'm just going to need to get to my desk and go over them and just don't want to rush it right now. Okay, so we got to close up shop here, and there's so many games I want to talk about. So good thing that you guys have SBR's Madness with Drew Martin and Maxwell Smart at 3 o'clock today where you can break down all these games. But Oklahoma State, Baylor, I want to talk about. Clemson, Notre Dame, I want to talk about. You guys will hammer that on your show. But the main game that the guys want to hear from you is your incredible read on these Florida teams. So why don't we finish this day off before we move into our afternoon study with South Florida at Tulane. South Florida opening up at -8.5, now -7.5 or -8. You broke down that South Florida UCF game exceptionally well. What do you think of this spot? Total sticking around 135, actually moved up a half point to 135.5. But South Florida at Tulane, Drew.
I mean, Jimmy, Tulane's garbage, man. They're hot garbage. You can't even count the number of losses they've had in a row. So if you're looking to bet Tulane, this is a tough team because they don't go slow and just play defense and cover numbers, anything like that. They'll actually push the pace, and they're not very good. So at the end of games, betting this Tulane team is just – it's really ugly. It's not a good style of basketball there in New Orleans. And South Florida is a team, they're not good, but they're pretty good. I think that you can actually make some money. I mean, they turn the ball over a lot offensively. They can't hit their shots, though. And defensively, they get back. They play efficient defense. They're kind of, almost like that Florida State type of defense, kind of long, lanky, and tough guys. That's a kind of combination that I like, but they struggle on the free throw line. So if you're looking to lay points with South Florida, that's always a little bit tougher. But, gun to head, Jimmy, it's a game I haven't bet, but I'd be on the Bulls just because this Tulane team is such garbage, and that's such a bad profile this time of year in college basketball to bet these teams that just lose and lose and lose. And now coming March, you're going to expect them to cover point spreads and come with something to play for. That's not the profile I look to bet. So gun to head, I'm on South Florida.
Gun to head on South Florida. So correct me if I'm wrong. Your only official play right now, where did I write it? God, is the under 139.5 in Florida LSU with a half unit?
Yes, that's right. And I'm right there with the Iowa State, West Virginia under, but I personally haven't bet it. I'll likely be on it before the show starts at 3, though.
I can't wait to watch your show again today. It helps me enormously. What a treat it is to have my man Drew Martin in the house. Just before I want Drew to stick with me for the end of the show, we're going to close up now. Just want to read out a couple things, some great notes from some of our low baggers. DA Sports Picks NYC says 2 Horizon Conference games, North Kentucky over first half, and Oakland over in first half. Horizon games go over in the first half and then slow down in the second half. When they move to the neutral site, the unders should be a look. That's great stuff from my man DA Sports Picks NYC. My man Jansen Bonson says, Oregon State is my play. Washington already locked their conference. Great point there. And then we must end with my man Matt Randall's Taint Play of the Day. 8-7. Minnesota money line for the Taint Play of the Day today. Tennessee Martin -1.5. He also likes New Mexico -2, Seton Hall money line, Rutgers money line, interesting, and San Diego State, or that might be, I got to check, SDSU if that's South Dakota or San Diego, -2.5, and then Florida Atlantic money line, and then Lamont Williams, max bet, NC State -11. My man Dan B said I smoked during the whole show and study. Shout out to you, Dan B. And that's what time it is now. It is time to study all afternoon and get that cash. LoBag has been on a nice roll lately. Teamwork beats -110. Teamwork beats -110. 500 heads are better than one, and that's what we do here at Low Shack in the Bag. Drew, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find you on Twitter, and what else are you up to this week?
Thanks for having me, Jimmy, at Drew Martin Bets on 3 p.m. Eastern time every day, Monday through Friday, with our boy Max. And today he's going to be a integral part of the show. I mean, the way that he knows these small conference teams, I'll pretty much tee him up. And he just knows so much information, as you know, Jimmy, on these small conference. So it's really a pleasure to work with Max. And he's funny as hell. So hopefully we'll talk about a little strip club situations that he's been in the past. But no, mostly about the games, mostly about the betting. And he knows these small conferences. I'll chime in a little bit on them and a little bit more on the bigger conference games. And also a shout out to the Taint Play of the Day. I believe it won yesterday. I was going against it, so should have listened to it. And that Taint Play of the Day, I love the marketing and love the whole LoBag chat as well. So thanks for having me on, Jimmy.
Oh, we love having you on. And very dangerous to go against Taint. Very dangerous to go against Taint. We need to make shirts, Matt. What a treat it is to have Drew Martin in. What a treat it is to run with these low baggers. Just, man, makes me so excited. Makes me so excited. Well, Drew, I will be watching your show at 3 p.m. Eastern. You will find me in the chat. And thank you to all the Low Shack and the baggers, all the low baggers in our chat today, giving us great insights and hilarious insights as well. I can't wait to start studying. I'm really pumped. Really pumped. This is a great time of year. So thank you for joining us, Drew Martin. Thank you for joining us, all the low baggers in the chat. Most importantly, though, Lecce and Los Bookmakers!